it's been here for 8 years, and the mission of STAND is to bring visual arts programming to the community of Bay Ridge, and for it to be inclusive. And so I'm very happy to welcome Nicole Peyrafitte. How's that? Is that good? And Pierre Joris, live in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and collaborate on many pluridisciplinary actions, books, and films. The Domopoetics Karstic-Actions present performances, conferences, and installations that link their works. Their collaborations started shortly after they met in 1990, with Nicole Peyrafitte designing covers and illustrations for many books by Pierre Joris. So besides doing their own practice, Pierre is a poet, translator, and essayist, and Nicole as an interdisciplinary artist. They have their own separate practices, and then they work together for their Domopoetics Karstic-Actions. And I think that's it. I'm going to bring Pierre up for the... Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I don't want to... So we're all right now in Bay Ridge, southwest Brooklyn, along the Verrazano Narrows. This land where Nicole and I, most of you, live today belong to the Lenape people, at least since 4500 BC.
Wow.
Until they were dispossessed of their homelands due to European so-called discovery. We pay homage to them, and we do our best to resist their erasure. We pay homage. The Napi, who speak Mansi, belong to the Algonquin civilization. Given their predominantly oral culture, early written documents are rarely accurate, as they come to us from the colonizers, who knew neither their culture nor their language. The first colonialist to land here was the Florentine explorer Giovanni di Verrazzano, after whom the bridge is named. He entered the bay we look at every day on April 17, 1524, sent by the French king François Ier. That was the start of colonization here. So all of us here, let's remember to remember all of that. And now?
So Nicole and Pierre kindly letting me read a poem that I wrote just after the last election in honor of our first woman vice president. It was a combination, so it happened during COVID, and it was written on the inauguration, I believe. Night's dawn. The tempered glass was shattered, not by the power of horses that roared through the prayerful silence and moved in armored hoovers. The tempered glass was shattered by the lives of stolen lights that found a new glimmer in the shards, the beautiful shards, that now look up towards the night sky to find a place to climb back to find their rightful place in the constellations. 1/21/2021.
stand up, I can't put a weight on my head.
Oh, come on, yeah.
Stand can be tough sometimes. Stand up.
It's called stand for here.
Stand for something, yes, exactly.
I stand for holding the wall. So the performance you just witnessed is part of our Domopoetics Karstic-Actions. The term karstic is a reference to the geological phenomena of dissolution and transformation at work in the formation of superficial or underground limestone topographies. By a similar principle of infiltration, language transforms into poem, breath into song, and colored chalk become pastel into marks on paper or canvas. On the walls around you are the documents for the one we did for the 2020 elections, except for the 6 new votes paintings on the walls, which include birds. Nicole likes to use the Audubon people's line, "Birds can't vote, you can." The first of our vote-casting Domopoetics action took place in September 2020 as part of working on rallying votes via the Writers Against Trump organization, as their founders, our friend Paul Auster and Siri Hustvedt and their daughter, had contacted us to this purpose. Nicole completed her vote performance painting and I my video essay in early September. The long wait between the closing of the vote and the announcement of the results was alleviated by creating the Resist, Persist, Assist action on re-speech on November 5th, exactly 2 days after the election and 2 days before the final results declaring the Biden-Harris win. You can see the works created for that occasion on the walls around you. The concept was to create a karstic action that would channel, alleviate, and transform the unbearable tension and anxiety generated by the wait for the election results in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, or in other words, to conjure the election auguries. Here's how we define the terms resist, persist, assist. Resist, withstand and remain undamaged and determined while sensing malevolent forces. Persist, practice no matter what the winds, the tides, the snow, the rain, the news, and uncertainties are. Assist, transform yourself to couple the sociological and ecological environment towards radical empathy and sustainable development. Now here's my updated manifesto. The 2020 version is on that tape. Born in Europe right after World War II, I grew up with my parents' stories of how fascism had overpowered weak and unsuspecting democracies, leading to unbelievable repression, mass civilian death, and genocide. Over these past 8 years, these stories have come back to haunt me. I never thought a fascist, racist takeover possible in these United States, the democracy that had helped Europe escape Nazism. But I know better now. Trump's 4 years as pseudo-president, the 4 years since, and its outcome, Project 2025, and his re-election this year, would legitimize his vision of an authoritarian white supremacist male Christian ideology and spell the end of American democracy. Only voting massively this November can stave off this takeover. The Harris-Walz ticket may not be your or my ideal revolutionary dream possibility, but it is what can and will save this democracy. I am calling on you, the young, disheartened, disgruntled, disappointed ones. You who have so much more to lose than me and we, the older ones, have to fight this plague together. That means go out and vote to take the country back, to get justice for everyone. No justice, no peace. Voting this November is the only solution. Go vote. But it's not only our country that's at the edge of neo-fascist takeover, justified in parts by fear of immigrants, non-white immigrants in our case. Think, for example, of the Sudan, embroiled in civil wars with soaring human costs, UN experts warn that Sudan is again spiraling into genocidal violence as it did in the early 2000s. Samantha Power, the head of USAID, says it is, quote, the single largest humanitarian crisis on the planet. In 2016, I wrote a poem about the refugee camp in Calais, France. I won't explain details here, but last week it was republished as Poem of the Week in The Guardian, the Monday 12th of August thing. It was an excellent essay by Carol Rumens, who actually analyzes the poem beautifully. Here is the poem. Sudanese saying. One of the non-bourgeois of Calais, on one of the last days of the great emptying, i.e. the shameless hiding of the eyesore Calais refugee camps called the jungle, where jungle is a translation of Pashto Zengel, meaning forest. One of these non-bourgeois of Calais reported a Sudanese saying to object to the refugees' dispersal. A saying that says, solidarity alleviates pain. And this is how it goes. If we all die together, death is a feast. Nor should we forget the genocidal horrors visited on Gaza by a neo-fascist Israeli government, the one place one would think could never have turned that way after the Shoah instigated by the original German fascist Nazi Hitler government. Those horrors have been committed with the bombs supplied by our government. Since October 7th, and despite one's absolute horror at the senseless rapes and murders Hamas committed that day, many of us have been calling for an immediate ceasefire and liberation of all hostages on both sides, and for a two-state solution. But so far our calls have not been answered, and the peace flag we have been trying to hoist has not been raised. Here, a poem about a sort of flag I spotted in the waters of our Narrows. Peace flag, tattooed, no, tattered, I see through you from land into sea, and nowhere to land, and vice versa vice, between sun and shade, between light and water, between rock and land, between wood and rock, tattered flag, bloodstained peace, tattooed flag, hold up the peace flag, tattooed, no, tattered by soldiers, washed in water, left not to dry but to hang, rope and black plastic tatters, hang it all, hangs in no balance, between land and sea, between you and them, between me and me, along this shore, here to reassure me, and you there is blood slowly washing out. There are holes in the flag between sea and land. There are algae adhering to rocks, waving in the water. There is broken wood waving in the water. There are ripped black plastic bags waving in the wind, calming, washing the bloody flag. And to close, my short 56-second manifesto. 1. The days of anything static, form, content, state are over. The past century has shown that anything not involved in continuous transformation hardens and dies. All revolutions have done just that. Those that try to deal with the state as much as those that try to deal with the state of poetry. 2. Keep in mind what Georges Bataille called the fascist temptation. It is not only a 20th century aberration, but a species-specific permanent risk for Homo sapiens. 3. As far as moral or social values are concerned, total miscegenation is the only solution. Purity is the root of all evil. 4. Between us is our essential nomadic condition. A becoming that crosses borders, is borders, lives on and in borders. So, go vote and get all your friends and neighbors to vote this November. It is the most vital vote of our lifetimes. Thank you.
you for coming.